Back to Andy Kim's International Finance class. One thing you must have seen in my previous lecture, right, must be that I am a very talkative guy. I know. I know. My wife, right, hates me when I talk because I don't stop. But that's me, all right? Very communicative. I try to be, okay? I hope that's going to be helpful for you, okay? That's that. Another reason why you have to study international finance is over here. My work experience at Bank of America matters over here. Why, right? It was international bank, right? That was directly about this international finance. I was involved in trade finance, export and import, right? All those documents of letter of credits and bankers acceptance, all these kind of things. The concepts I had to understand that. It's the most basic work you would do in any foreign banks is as you get some jobs over there. Okay, so why don't you master this right now so that you will have a better chance of work in those foreign banks later on. Okay, and who knows? Even if when you are working for Korean banks, you may be assigned to foreign branches, and then you're going to do this kind of job later on. So you need to master this thing. And then international corporate credit lending, that was my major part of the job, right? Lending money to Samsung Electronics from American Bank's perspective, right? Credit analysis about CJ Group and then LG Chemical and then LG Electronics and then LG Display, right? Visiting their factories and then what is their risk and setting up the credit limit for their FX transaction or derivatives transaction, all this kind of thing is really about foreign banks' job. And correspondent banking, that is like talking between or working between among major banks. Core bank, we said, core bank relationship management, right? Correspondent banking. 특파원 correspondent is like a you sent out somebody, like if you are a broadcaster like NBC or KBS, right? You send out your reporters to Washington DC and call them what? Correspondent. Our correspondent in Washington DC is over there. Park Sung-ho, by the way, he is my friend in NBC, Park Sung-ho reporter. And then you talk to each other on that television, right? Likewise, you need some correspondent relation, right? Among different banks. That's core banking management, right? How good are they doing? How bad are they in shape, right? International M&A. I was once involved in this kind of things. You know, 하나대투, right? 하나대투. 대한투신 was there in 20 years ago, and then one of the British fund was trying to acquire it, and I was involved in their M&A due diligence, right? So that kind of things is exactly what this international finance is about. So Jesus, I should have taught this one like long time ago, but somehow I was not assigned. But I was teaching more the valuation and then the corporate finance and basic finance only. Fine, now I'm here, right? And then just to tell you a little bit about the zoology of finance, right? You want to master finance, but how are they structured, right? Of course, you learned about you took the class in financial management. That's a basic baby step, time value of money and all these kind of things, right? NPV, IRR, and then all these kind of things. So that's very basic. Once you master that, what do? Two pillars of finance are investment and corporate finance, right? You see it, investment and corporate finance. This investment part is also called asset pricing, AP, asset pricing. You remember CAPM, CAPM, capital asset pricing model? That's asset pricing model. That's about investment side of it. That's the perspective of the investors in the capital market today. That's individual investors or institutional investors and foreign investors jumping in and buy and sell and then make money out of it. Trading and then traders and dealers and all this kind of market structure is there. Derivatives trading and commodities, FICC, fixed income, currency and commodities. You're gonna see these kind of functions or departments in global investment banks, FICC. By the way, if things permit, we'll be able to have some talk, a special seminar with the head of FICC in a global major bank, right? Head of global major investment bank. Last year we did it, okay? He was talking from Hong Kong. This time he will join us from Singapore, right? FICC, fixed income, and then currency and commodities. That's investment part. The other part of finance is called corporate finance. This is a perspective of what? CEOs and CFOs, the corporate managers' perspective. Okay, how to raise the capital, right? Either debt or equity, right? Raise capital from the investors outside, and that's IPO, bond issues, and all these kind of things, right? And then once you have the capital, what should we do? Invest, right? From the corporate's perspective. M&A, take over other companies, or sometimes you buy some land and then the buildings and then machineries and things like that. That's investment decision. Or cash management, right? You have excess cash, don't know what to do with this cash in your vault. Like Tesla, $20 billion of cash in their vault. Don't know what to do. What did Elon Musk say the other day? He said, we already put $1.5 billion into Bitcoin, right? That's investment side of it, okay? And then once you invest it and do your business and then make profits, and then after net income, right? What do? Partly you pay out dividend to your shareholders, and the rest of it goes into your existing business. Plow it back to reinvest and grow your business, right? How much should we pay out? How much should we reinvest? That kind of dividend payout decision has to be there. And then naturally the shareholders' relations with the CEOs, their signaling game is studied in corporate finance. That's called corporate governance, right? So that's a rough classification of these two pillars of finance. But why do I say this? Well, we have international finance over here, okay? And here we group some concepts from both pillars of our field, investment and corporate finance field, and then anything related to international financial management we study over here in a unique manner. Anything related to foreign exchange risk, right? Or there, naturally you're going to study a lot about macroeconomics, right? And such things as interest rates. Recently, the other day, the US Treasury rate, right? 10-year Treasury rate. Check it out right now, right? How is it? Okay, how did it change over the last week? And how did that affect the global stock market, right? That's interest rates movement. And then that naturally feeds into or affect the foreign exchange rate, dollar Korean won rate. Or foreign students, depending on which country you are from, you may be thinking about, this dollar to your country's, FX rate, or vice versa, or cross currency, like your country's currency against Korean won, right? That's something we're going to learn about it. Global capital raising, because in corporate managers, as you work outside, right? Coupang, right? Coupang. What did they announce, right? They're going to do IPO in New York Stock Exchange. Coupang is Korea's kind of Amazon, I may say, right? And then they are, Korean people believe that they are a Korean company, but they are not. Right? The CEO has different thoughts about it, and then he's going to the US stock market to raise capital, right? Is it the only case that we ever seen? No, you're gonna see it. Why do they raise it over there instead of inside Korea? But what about Japan? Naver did it over there in Japan. Why? Huh? That's a very interesting thing to study, and then you will be in charge of that in a couple of years later, right? Or maybe 10 years down the road, right? So get ready for that. Trade finance, yeah, I told you, right? Export and import, all these kind of things, and cash management, different countries. You have different branches, right? 100 different branches in 100 different countries, and then the different branches have a different amount of excess cash or deficits of cash. How do we manage it better in different currencies? That's cash management. So we're going to study those kind of things in this class. Some of you may wonder, yeah, we see that a lot of economics are involved throughout finance curriculum, but we know that there are macroeconomics and microeconomics and game theory. How are they related more or less to these two different pillars of finance? I would say in this manner, macro and then micro game theory. Okay, why is that the case? By now you will be able to understand better, because this investment involves a lot of interest rate risk management, and when the macro hits the stock market, there's no way of getting out. Okay. 매크로로 쳐맞으면 정신이 없어요. It's like they say it in trading desk, right? So macro naturally is more related to investment side. Of course, corporate finance side, it is also related there, but it's not as much. Whereas in corporate finance, you have much more game theory going on. Why? This is information game, signaling game between the CEO and the outside investors. Insawa asa, right? Insiders and outsiders. Why? What's the difference? Well, they have difference in information. Information asymmetry plays a lot. So that's why we have a lot of game theory going on and microeconomics understanding going on over there. Yeah. Some of the microeconomic concepts also get into this investment field. You may wonder why, that is about the informed traders in investment, like CAMI versus institutional investors. The guys without information, the guys with better information. Their information difference plays some role in your trading results, right? Trade, naturally, those information gets priced in some process using some game theoretic understanding. So that's why a little bit of this part of game theory is applied in this investment as well. Now, getting back to international M&A, you must be familiar with these pictures by now. What is that? Delivery hero. Anybody from Germany? Huh? Germanische? Willkommen Sie, right? And then last year, they said they're going to take over 배달민족, 배민, which is like a delivery company in Korea. And by that, once they really acquire this guy, then given their existing subsidiary called Yogio in Delivery Hero, right? Yogio. The market share in delivery business inside Korea by these guys will be about 98%. 98%, right? Virtually monopoly, right? Was being created. So what did the 공정거래 Fair Trade Commission said? So many of you aspire to become M&A lawyers, right? This is the field you want to go, right? And then you have to check out their fair trade laws like that. And then 조성욱 교수님, right? She has been interested in my research as well. She's a very nice person, to come to my seminars and then give some great comments over there and whenever I do. She said, well, you can take over this guy, but if you really want to take over, spit out Yogio or spin out Yogio separately so that you will not be creating monopoly. Now the CEO of Yogio is also my Facebook friend and my university alumni, by the way. And then interesting situation gets happened these days, right? And then as it turns out, okay, it's gonna be very interesting to see what they're gonna end up, right? 우아한 형제들, and then all these kind of M&As, but somebody had to advise first of all. M&A advisory role is a very interesting business in banking, investment banking. This is the cream of the crop, or the most sexiest job in investment banking, I think. And a friend of mine, okay, in JP Morgan, was advising this one as well. Very interesting last year, right? And then this kind of work, right, is something you would be interested in doing later on. So pay attention to this kind of current issues. Why? Because number one reason I tell you is because it's good to pay attention to current issues for your job perspective, right? You never know when you're gonna have job interviews, like for your internships, right, or permanent positions. Number two, I give some final exam questions and then midterm exam questions based on current issues. Why? Because this is, first of all, I am the one who is constantly updating my exam questions, reflecting current issues for your job market perspective, right? To help you better. Number two reason is pandemic, right? You cannot do offline exam. The exam will be online. I know that you guys talk to each other, not just each other. Talk to your 선배님 or predecessor who took this class before to take over some of the previous semester's exam question. No way. That would not work in this class, okay? So if you are looking for that kind of easy life, get out of here, right? But if you are really into taking some challenges, right? This is the course. Welcome. Update yourself every week, every day, right? 일신, 일신. Why international finance? Yeah, capital budgeting perspective is gonna be self-explanatory. Just to give you some idea about who are big in Korean M&A field, right? We call it league table. Some of you may be, so the foreign students, sorry, I give some Korean letters over here. But this is the league table, something called the league table. What is that about? That is rank number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, kind of, top guys in M&A advisory field. Whatever investment banking field you are good at, right? Then they announce this kind of league table. You belong to our league, top league, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 guys, right? List them up, okay? So in Korean M&A market, who are the biggest players? Welcome, JP Morgan, right? Over here. Did I say this guy, right? Over here. Did I say my friend was advising this? Yeah, 김영기 본부장님, right? They are the top guys. Goldman Sachs, and then 3일 PwC. Why? That's an advisor. So it's not an investment bank, but PwC consulting function. They are doing it. 삼성증권, right? Samsung Securities. They are also big over here. And then other things, it's not that necessary over here. Okay, so M&A league table. Someday in your future, I hope you go into that league table with your bank name over there. Okay, good luck. Now, why international finance? Many reasons. Capital structure dimension of corporate finance. Many corporations are raising capital in foreign markets by issuing bonds and stocks. I told you about it. What's that? Not the Yu-Gi-Oh, but what? Coupon, right? And then corporate governance issue is also there, right? The payout policy dimensions of corporate finance. How to cater the needs of global investors and level the playing field in terms of governance has been critical issue. Pay attention to what happened to Lee Jae-yong, our Jae-yong Hyung, my God. And then Samsung Group, okay? People have some stereotype that Seongkyungwan University professors like me will be friendly to Samsung Electronics or whatever they do it. because there is a lot of what do you say, support, financial support to the school level, right? Yeah, that's the financial support or scholarship. It's Samsung scholarship. Some of you get it, right? That's good. But my job is to be absolutely fair, okay? Not to be lobbied by any, corporations, no matter what, right? I didn't even get Samsung scholarship, right? 삼성 장학금 받아본 적이 없어, right? So I try to be fair over there, okay? Yeah. So I'm gonna be critical about those guys, especially those guys. 가신 groups. 가신 is like what? These secretary groups to the chairman Lee, right? They're screwing up, by the way, the whole group. So they have to be the ones who is like have to wake up and to be punished, but they are not punished. Instead, 이재용 is being punished. And why is that the case? And how does that governance structure fall short of international standard? We have to be critically understanding it to improve ourselves, right? Improve Korean companies' governance structure better, right? We're gonna do that over here. Okay, what do you see? Hyundai Motor and Elliott. If this guy Elliott is a total stranger in your mind, you should wake up. This is a wake-up call. Google search Elliott and then the Hyundai and Samsung, what these guys have been doing, right? A lot of controversies going on. You will see it inside Korea, but you better learn about what they are, okay? Because this is just the beginning, right? Okay, so next lecture I'm going to talk more about why international finance, and we'll move down to syllabus. All right, thanks for watching.